Welcome everybody to the Wake Up Call channel. I have to air for you some of this propaganda that's out there. Remember, every single thing that is talked about on the news is a form of propaganda to persuade you one way or the other. And the thing they're working hardest right now is civil division. They are making it so that conservatives and Democrats cannot live among one another. And of course, this is all because of the mainstream media and how they are gaslighting both conservatives and Democrats every single second of every single day. And this story that they aired about local election candidates being under attack is a perfect example. They're actually saying that people who are running for local office have to pull off of the ballots, get off the ballots, and even leave the communities that they're living in because it's unlivable. Because people of the opposite political party are threatening their lives. People of the opposite political party are confronting them. And confrontation, of course, is a scary thing. They even go on at the end of this video I'm about to play for you, talking about how people are doing this anonymously. They're laying the foundations for a digital ID as well, even though some of the stories they're talking about are people sending threats through the mail. These are all formulated, planted stories. And again, this makes people start to realize that even on a local level, that they can't vote for the right people. They can't get the right people in power because good people are intimidated to run for local office. When the simple reality is that the entire thing is rigged, even at a local level. The people who are winning those elections are members of secret societies, even your local Freemason lodges, your local Eastern Star lodges. This entire thing is completely compromised. And again, nobody talks about how these votes are actually accounted for. You're just told who wins your local election. You're told who wins that election, right? As if it's just some very fair and balanced computer program that's counting each vote fairly, unbalanced, and then giving it to you, feeding it to who? Who are the people involved? Oh, the people involved. Well, you could trust them. It's a treasurer. It's a this person. You can't trust any of them. The entire thing is compromised and rigged. And when stories like this come out, you have to think about the psychological aspect of it and what the undertones are. The undertones are that it's unlivable to live with people of the opposite political party. They make it seem like conservatives are bullies, they're threatening people. And of course, Democrats are all about love and kindness, right? Even though those are the people who are censoring free speech and trying to remove all of our rights, all in the name, of course, of love and kindness. Look at this propaganda and listen to the news anchors who are fully responsible when they say, I can't believe what's happening in America. How is this happening? People are so cruel. What is happening to our country? Well, they're the reason that this is happening to our country because they're the ones who are planting the seeds of division. And of course, they're the ones responsible for the hypnosis and the hate and the constant division among civilians. It all comes back and all fingers could be pointed to the mainstream media and all news media outlets who are pushing and pumping nothing more than division. Look at this garbage.
We are less than 4 months away from Election Day, and it's not just the national campaigns that are heating up. Many local candidates are facing rising levels of harassment, intimidation, and threats too. Caitlin Huey-Burns traveled to the battleground state of Nevada, where these aggressive tactics are being powered by big money.
These days, for local politicians in Washoe County, Nevada, there's less and less that's civil about their discourse, especially when it comes to their school board.
I want you to take these books out of the schools. It's pornography.
So when Beth Smith joined the school board, she knew she'd be challenged. But she didn't expect to read blogs like this, detailing her painful divorce and making light of her recent battle with cancer.
What you don't expect is harassment and intimidation and attacks on you, that people know where you live, where your kids go to school.
That just does not seem normal.
It's not. When I see messaging with death imagery, I know that it's part of their attacks to get me to stop doing this work.
Well, sound like little sissies.
Local political activist Robert Beatles might be the brawler with the barest knuckles in Washoe County.
I have a ton of money, and I'm going to do everything that I can to remove all of you.
Beatles, seen here 3 years ago, says he made millions in crypto and real estate. He wrote the blog post about Smith.
Are you a bully?
If they're running for office and they can't take the truth about them being told in whatever light, then maybe they shouldn't be running for office.
Smith isn't alone facing menacing tactics here. In 2022, both a Washoe County Commission candidate and Reno's mayor found GPS trackers on their cars. The police questioned the private investigator. He wouldn't name his client, but he did talk motive.
Is it political or personal?
It's political.
Okay.
It's not just Washoe. A CBS News investigation has compiled video evidence of harassment against local officials across the country. City managers.
These are the people that are screwing us over as citizens.
And county clerks.
An unknown individual threw a partial pipe bomb into my house.
Are bearing the brunt. Earlier this year, a Texas mayor received a threatening package containing a noose and a note that read, "Get out of the race now." Harassment of local officials, Democrats and Republicans alike, has increased by 55% over the past 2 years, according to a new study. And proximity has a lot to do with it.
They shop at the same grocery stores, their kids go to the same schools. That makes them part of this kind of front line of democracy, but it also makes them often at higher risk.
Shannon Hiller ran the study, which focuses on behavior experts are calling lawful but awful.
Only a small percentage of this behavior is actually going to have a law enforcement or a legal solution, but it could be effective in terms of really disrupting democratic processes at their most local level.
And it's driving people out. Nearly 40% of local officials say they're considering not running for re-election because of it. But back in Washoe County, Beth Smith is sticking it out.
I beat cancer, and I definitely will not stop because of this.
Smith has just landed a spot on the county school board for another term. For CBS Mornings, Caitlin Huey-Burns, Washoe County, Nevada.
I don't know what is happening to us as a country, because now bad behavior seems to be embraced and encouraged.
Right.
People are so mean and so vitriolic. It's actually scary to me.
Well, the fact that a lot of these acts happen anonymously, that's something else as well. You can go and confront somebody in a town hall. Right. It's a healthy democracy. But when you're sending nooses and threats of violence,
you're living in a constant state of fear.
Yep.
You don't know where the threat is coming from.
So a story like that is incredible. It's incredible because you have to realize that it's only making the news for a reason. What did somebody decide they wanted to write a piece on local elections? They give you their fake statistics, 55% increase in threat. Did anyone know that that was being tracked? Did you know that? Did you know that they're tracking harassment of local officials? And somebody, when they get harassed in your town, say you go to your local township council meeting and you stand up and you disagree with the guy. Are they then writing that down and sending it to the local harassment office for local officials, and they're taking tallies, and then everybody from every town is taking a tally and sending in threats and harassment of I mean, it's unbelievable. Of course not. It's make-believe. It's all made up. And every time they give you, well, according to a study, that's all it takes for the common sheeple to be convinced that what they're saying is truth. And wow, there's an increase in this because people are becoming worse and worse and more hateful and more hateful and more hateful. They never ask for any of this stuff to be held, can we get actual facts where this is coming from, how these things are occurring? Nobody knows anybody that's ever voting or giving an opinion in any of these polls. Once in a while, they'll tell you or send you a consensus in the mail. But let's be real. I mean, this stuff couldn't be more made up. So there's a 55% increase in harassment of local officials. So what's the moral of the story? Why is this story airing other than to plant seeds in people's heads that we're not going to be able to have this structure anymore, the way that the government's set up, right? Well, even, we have this tomorrow, we go and we vote. Well, now it's not even possible for these people to run for office because they're intimidated and they're scared. Well, what's the solution? Well, clearly they're telling you the solution, right? The solution is that we have to change everything. We have to change the infrastructure. And on top of that, we're not going to be able to live among each other anymore based on politics. And of course, the majority of this stuff is so insane that people have gone along with the stuff that the government's been pushing, the communist propaganda. Of course, some of the stuff with the books that they're trying to get in schools, it's incredible that people are locked into their political sides of the aisle with some of this stuff, like how anybody could be okay with some of the crap they're trying to put in schools for kids to read, and how anybody who's a Democrat is falling for this stuff with kids castrating themselves. It just shows you they're under such hypnosis that they're actually falling for this stuff when they say, hey, data shows that kids are born the opposite gender. Hey, data shows that kids should be able to castrate themselves. And they just go along with it. It shows you that nobody is thinking. And the hypnosis is actually working. And it's working at frightening levels. When they can put stuff like this out and people don't even realize what they're doing. They just watch this and then they go repeat it. Hey, did you hear? Oh man, yeah, on the local level too, a lot of politicians are afraid to run. They're getting threatened by bullies, of course, again, making it seem like conservatives are all mean bullies. Democrats are all filled with love and peace and unity. Meanwhile, those people want to castrate children and are telling us that men can have babies. So you tell me who's sane and who's not sane. And again, they know exactly what they're doing here. This is CIA mind control propaganda being pumped out. So what is the messaging we take? The messaging we take from this is that they're telling people that even at a local level, the government cannot function. That even at a local level, we're not going to get the right people put into power, not because, of course, they're selecting these people, because good people are afraid to run. They're intimidated. And thus, the seeds continually are being planted for a civil divorce, a national divorce, I should say. Okay, when we talk about a civil war, they want you to think of a civil war where there's military running for each side and we're going up to the battlefield. They're talking about making states, blue states and red states, based on political ideologies, and they're going to make it unlivable for people to live in the opposite state. Okay, that is a fact. That is what they're doing. That is what all these stories that are coming out are designed to do. They're making honey pots. They're making hives. They're making little areas like Florida and Tennessee seem appealing to people like us. Oh, Tennessee is trying to combat chemtrails. Oh my goodness, really? Really? So then what happens? People go, oh, chemtrails aren't in Tennessee. I'm going to go to Tennessee because people are waking up to that stuff. They're making it so that we move ourselves into states that represent our beliefs, right? Florida is a place for Christians to come. They're not going to mandate anything down there. Come on down while we hit it with HARP every single day. While we just drill it with weaponized weather. Come on down, right? And then what about in all these other states, these lib states? Well, women have rights here. If a woman wants to kill a baby and commit murder, you can come to our state and you can do it. And somehow the psychological operation that the media is putting on is working. It is working. And people will see stories like that and they won't even realize how they're being played. They'll just see it and they'll say, hey, you know what? Yeah, this is becoming a problem. It's not just Trump and Biden. It's just Republicans in general. It's just Democrats in general. We can't live among each other anymore. And guess what? That's problem, reaction, solution 101. They're creating the problem. They're watching people react where they're getting angrier and angrier at each other. And the solution is to move us away from each other by design. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. I had to share that with you. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. Hilarious because, again, every story that makes the news, there is something to it that they're psychologically trying to ingrain in your mind to make you feel a certain way. What do you think? Somebody went into the editing room and they're like, hey, let's go research what's going on at the local level. And, I'll put a little story together. Did you hear there's a 55% increase in harassment of local officials? Huh? Oh, you mean you pulled the statistic right out of your rectum to give us that? So that what? So that we feel like, wow, you know what? This whole system's not going to work. Democracy, this American experiment's over. And we can't live among people anymore that we disagree with. Pretty incredible how this works, right? I thank everybody again for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always and your families.